Good afternoon, students. Now we will begin with the transmission line protection. Before beginning with the transmission line protection, we should understand the shortcomings of the overcurrent relaying, because overcurrent relay is the most standard relay used for most of the protection. So what are the problems with the overcurrent relay and how they are overcome by using various transmission line protection schemes. So here in this case, we are just looking at a diagram wherein there is a source of value E, there is a source impedance of ZS, okay, and then there is a three-phase line. So this is a three-phase source, three-phase impedance shown in a single line diagram, right? Now there is a three-phase transmission line which is going from bus A to bus B, and we are supposed to protect till point B, from point A to point B, by a relay, by a overcurrent relay whose pickup value is IPU. That means if there is a fault between point A and point B, if there is a fault between point A and point B, then our overcurrent relay should pick up and should detect the fault and trip. Now what happens is that the lines are long, and because of the length of the line, the impedance of the line also comes into picture, and because of this, even though the voltage across the relay is like the current in the line will be dependent on the impedance of the line as well, right? So for example, if there is a line to ground fault, if there is a line to ground fault, because there are three lines, so basically this single line diagram is nothing but there are three lines like this. So if there is a LG fault on any one of the bus, okay, if there is a LG fault on any one of the bus, this is a line to ground fault, then what will happen, that the impedance which is or the current which will be there will be basically less as compared to uh, line to ground fault. So if I have two lines which are shorted and then this is grounded, then I have line to ground fault, okay. So this current will be of the line to ground fault, this current will be greater than the line to ground fault, right? And further, if I have all these three lines shorted and then there is a ground fault, then this current will be the highest, right? So the three-phase fault current, fault current will be the highest. So if there is a three-phase fault current, I have a highest current, slightly lower current in line to line ground fault, and lower current in line to ground fault. Because of this, what happens, the currents are less, and because of this, the relay may not pick up beyond a particular distance on the line. So here you see on x-axis you have the distance from relay location, right? So if we have kept the current pickup current constant, IPU is constant, let us say IPU is 5 ampere, but as the distance of the line is increasing, what is happening, the LG fault current is also going to reduce because of the impedance of the line, right? So as you go ahead on this line, as you go from point A to point B, more and more impedance is coming into picture, so the current will go on reducing, and at a particular point B1, the line to ground fault current will be less than the pickup current, right? The line to ground current will be less than the pickup current, so the relay will not trip even though there is a fault. Same thing will occur for line to ground fault, that means this second fault, LLG fault. Same thing will happen for this, but it will continue till this point. The pickup current will be less than the fault current, so the relay will operate, but beyond this point the relay will not operate because there is a fault at this particular point. All right, and same logic can be applied to the three-phase fault, and the three-phase fault will continue to be detected till this point B2, okay, and beyond this point it will not be detected, right? So this is the problem with the overcurrent relay, that you can detect the fault up to a particular point based on the type of fault. So if it's a line to ground fault, then the relay will underreach. Now what is underreach and overreach, I'll just tell you in a moment. Okay, so friends, we have seen that how the distance is impacting the magnitude of the current for various faults, and because the current reduces based on distance, our relay will operate differently for different types of faults. So let us say that your relay is designed to operate for the length A to B. That means it should detect the faults only in the range A to B. It should not detect the faults in the range beyond B or beyond B, right? And it must detect the any fault between A and B, and it should not detect any fault beyond B, right? Now what is happening here, when there is a line to ground fault, when there is a LG fault, because the relay is seeing the current reducing, it is operating only up to point B1, right? So the relay is able to operate for line to ground fault from point A to point B1. Okay, so this can be some kilometers. So only between A to B1 LG fault is being detected. Then the LLG fault is properly detected between point A to B. So this is the relay is operating okay for the line to ground fault. But if you see the third fault, that is the three-phase fault, the relay is basically overreaching. Overreaching means for a three-phase fault, the relay is operating till this point, right? So for A to B2, the relay is operating from point A to B2 for LLLG fault, right? So this is the first case where the relay is working only up to point B1. This is called as the underreach. This is known as underreach. Why this is known as underreach? Because we told relay must operate from point A till point B, but it is not reaching till point B. It is stopping before point B at B1. That's why underreach. A to B is the proper reach because this is the area that we want it to operate, and this A to B2 is basically called as the overreach. Why overreach? Because relay was supposed to operate only till from point A till point B, but now it is going beyond and till B2 it is operating. This is also not a good criteria because we don't want relay to operate beyond point B. So this is the problem arises in a transmission line whenever the type of fault changes for with the distance, the current also changes, right? This is one problem. We'll see some more problems. In the earlier diagram, we have seen that the different kinds of fault, how they are playing a role. Now let us say that the fault is only at same point and same type. So the fault is at point B and it is of a same type. It may be LG fault, LLG fault or whatever, right? But now the source impedance is variable. That means ZS value is changing. ZS value is changing. Now again, whether you have a change in line impedance or source impedance, it will have an effect on the relay reach. So if the source impedance is small, ZS3, then your relay will reach only up to point B1. If your source impedance is slightly greater, ZS2, it will work up to this point. And if your source impedance is even greater, that is ZS3, the relay will work to this point. Okay. So reach for ZS3, that means this one, ZS3, which is only up to point B1. So for impedance ZS3, the reach is only up to point B1. That means relay is, what it is doing? Relay is underreaching, underreach, because it is supposed to reach up to point B, but it is reaching only up to point B1. For impedance ZS2, the relay is okay because it is reaching up to point B, and for impedance ZS1, it is overreaching. Why overreaching? Because it is operating till point B2, which it is not supposed to do. And what is the relationship between these impedances? The impedance ZS3 is the highest. So if I say the ZS3 is greater than ZS2 and ZS2 is greater than ZS1. So for example, ZS3 can be 10 ohms, this can be 5 ohms, and this can be 2 ohms. So smaller the impedance, larger will be the reach of the relay. And again, this is a problem case for overcurrent relay. If you want to protect a particular range, I just want to protect A to B. I do not want anything beyond this or below this. but the simple overcurrent relay fails in this case. So students, you have seen how the simple overcurrent relay is failing to protect the system because of the different kinds of distances and different kinds of faults. If either your source impedance is variable or your type of fault is changing, then the system is maloperating. That means it is not working properly. So as a solution to this, what we can do, instead of measuring the current, we can measure the ratio of voltage and current. What we can do, instead of measuring the current only, we can take the ratio of voltage and current, which is nothing but the impedance, okay, which is nothing but the impedance. And with this ratio of voltage and current, we can check whether our impedance is greater than, less than, or equal to a particular value. Okay, accordingly, if we set the relay operation, it will perform better, right? So a simple example is shown here in this figure A. Just focus on this figure A. Let us say that we want to again protect from point A to point B, right? We want to protect from point A to point B, and the impedance in this range from point A to point B, we want to have some value of impedance. We will set that value and we will call it as Z set. Okay, Z set is the impedance that we are setting, right? As long as your impedance is less than this value, Z set value, your relay should not operate, and beyond this the relay should operate. So how it works, you can have a look at, this is the simple circuit diagram, okay, in the RX domain. So I have drawn the equivalent circuit. This is the voltage source impedance. The relay voltage is at this point VR, and the line is seen as a RX line, R and X, right? And then there is a fault. Now let us say that there is a fault at point 3, which is nothing but an external fault. Why? Because we want to protect only between point A and point B. So we can say that F3 is an external fault. For F3, which is an external fault, the relay current at the relay location will be IR3. For the external fault, so the relay current at the fault location is IR3 and voltage is VR3, right? And we will measure the voltage, voltage in terms of current into Z set, right? So VR3 is greater than IR3 into Z set. That means the relay will not operate. Why? Because VR upon IR, which is the impedance seen by the transmission line, is greater than the set impedance which we have set, right? Similarly, you can do the analysis for point F2, which is the reach point. Here VR2 will be such that it is just equal to IR2 into Z set, right? So it is on the verge of operation, and then you can have an internal fault. Internal fault means this fault F1. At this fault F1, the impedance is Z1. So we will have VR1 will be less than IR into Z set, right? Or in other terms, the simple law which we can derive from this is, if the voltage at the relay location VR is less than the relay current into Z set, then it should trip, else it should not trip. Okay, so this is the simple trip law for a relay, or this relay is also known as the impedance relay, right? This is the simple trip law for an impedance relay, that as long as your VR is less than magnitude of VR, okay, as long as the magnitude of VR is less than the magnitude of current, relay current, multiplied by the set impedance, then it should trip, otherwise it should not trip. So this can again be written as, I can write this as magnitude of VR divided by magnitude of IR should be less than Z set, right? That means if you see carefully this VR IR, this is a simple straight line. If I draw IR on x-axis and VR on y-axis, then I will get a straight line with a slope of Z set, So as long as the slope is less than Z set, then the relay should trip. So everything below this line, okay, so everything below this line, this black line, will be a trip region. That means if your impedance is below this, then the relay will trip. it will operate. Above this, it will not operate, it will restrain. Okay. So this is the fundamental working principle of a distance relay. Okay, so it's very simple. Instead of measuring the current at a relay, what we are measuring, current as well as voltage. We divide the voltage by current. We use two devices. We use a potential transformer or the PT. Okay, so here, just a minute. Yeah, so here at the relay location we use a PT, that is nothing but the voltage transformer or the potential transformer. We use a CT, that is the current transformer. Then we divide voltage by current, we'll get the impedance. If this impedance is less than Z set, then the relay will operate, otherwise it will not operate, right? So Z set or the setting of the relay is very important. Based on this setting, the relay will either trip or will not trip. Okay, and this is the characteristics of a simple impedance relay. Right, so impedance relay is one of the basic relays which is used for transmission line protection. In the earlier diagram, we have seen the impedance relay characteristics on a voltage current plane, but we have seen this diagram. On x-axis there was current, on y-axis there is voltage, right? And then there is a straight line, and the slope of this is Z set. Anything below this line will be trip, anything above this line will be restrain. Restrain means do not operate, right? Restrain. But in practice, it is more important, more effective to see this characteristics in terms of impedance in a RX plane. In a RX plane, what is a RX plane? On x-axis I will draw the resistance, okay, and on y-axis I will draw the reactance, because we know that impedance is given by R plus jx. Okay, R plus jx. So based on the impedance and resistance, I will draw the point here. So if I draw the same straight line in a RX plane, I will get a circle. Okay, I will get a circle because the Z is under root of R square plus x square. Magnitude of Z can be written as under root of R square plus we can say Z square or x square. So that's why this can be, if I take square on both the sides, so it will be a square plus b square equal to r square. Basically it's the equation of a circle. So I get a circle like this. Okay, this is a circle which I am getting, and anything inside this circle, anything inside this circle is a trip region. That means relay will trip if your point lies within this circle, and relay will not trip if it lies outside the circle, and if it is on the circle, it is on the verge of operation, right? So this is called as the operating characteristics in the RX plane. So if you see the earlier diagram, the points F1, F2 and F3 which were shown on the transmission line, okay, so here this point F1, this point F2 and this point F3 on the transmission line can be shown like this. So this point F1 will be inside the RX plane, inside the circle. F2 is the point which is on the circle, that means it is the point B on the verge of operation, and F3 will be lying outside the circle, right? So this is the basic RX characteristics of a impedance relay. Now what happens in real systems, whenever there is a fault, so let's say that there is a fault between a line and the ground. This is the ground, okay. So whenever there is a fault between the line to ground, there will be a arc, right? This is an electric arc, and this arc has its own resistance, okay, and this resistance also adds to the reactance of the line. So this also has to be considered, and by empirical formula, the value of this arc resistance R arc is given by this 8750 in bracket S plus 3 UT divided by I raised to 1.4. Right, now this S, U, T, etc., these are all the parameters which are related to the velocity and the time for which the arc is there, and the current in the fault, etc. So these are all empirical values, but generally arc resistance will be given to you, right? Now our interest is to understand how this will impact the operating characteristics of the relay. So originally, without the arc resistance, I was having this particular line, this black line, without the arc resistance, okay, the inner line, this one, this black line, without the arc resistance. If I add the arc resistance, it has to be added at all the points. So from the origin till this point. So I will add arc resistance this much, and now my line will be shifted here, right? So the original line is shifted to the right side, and I have this entire region which is now the fault characteristics of the line with the arc resistance, right? So the arc resistance plays a role that the point which would have been inside the circle, now for some case it will be outside the circle. That means the relay may maloperate because of the arc resistance, right? You can see the points have changed. So the point which was here will now be here, okay, and the point which was here is now here. So at this point the relay should have been on the verge of operation, but because of the arc resistance it will not operate. So the relay under reaches because of the arc resistance. This is one of the problem with the impedance relays, which has to be taken into consideration when you set the Z set of a relay, right? So these are all the fundamental things about the impedance relay. Okay students, finally if we want to actually prepare impedance relay, we can do it. Nowadays it is all done by the microcontrollers and processors, so static relays are there. But in order to understand the working or intuition of the relay, it is good to see it in a mechanical way, right? So the impedance relay will have this kind of a structure, wherein it will take two inputs, the voltage at the relay location, current at the relay location, and we will set some value of the impedance. So any impedance below this will be trip, above this will be non-trip, right? Now how this can be realized? So you imagine that there is a simple hinge like this, okay, simple hinge, and there is a beam, okay. So simple beam is there, balance beam, and now we have two things here. On one side there is this beam is of iron, soft iron, so it will be attracted by the magnetism. So we have a coil on this side which is the current coil, and the operating current is flowing through this coil. So there will be a torque generated which is called as the operating torque, which will pull this beam towards this direction, right? So once again try to understand this. So if I have a current IR which will go through this coil, it will pull the beam in this particular direction, right? If the beam is pulled in this direction, here this particular black point will connect to the trip point and it will output, that means the relay will trip. But at the same time we are also using another torque which is opposing the operating torque, which is called as the restraining torque. It is called as the restraining torque, and this torque is proportional to voltage. Operating torque is proportional to current, restraining torque is proportional to voltage, and it will keep on stopping the relay from tripping. Whenever the operating torque becomes greater than the restraining torque, the relay will trip. Okay, so mathematically this can be written like this. If I say operating torque is O, then the operating torque is proportional to let us say some constant K1 multiplied by the magnitude of the relay current, square of that, right? And the restraining torque is proportional to some constant K2 multiplied by the voltage of the restraining coil. So the relay coil, right, square. Okay, so this should be the entire square, okay, K1 IR whole square and K2 VR square, right? So I beg your pardon, it is correct. It is K1 into IR square, and this is K2 into VR square. So it is not whole square, right? So the relay will operate if the operating torque is greater than restraining torque. That means if K1 into IR square is greater than K2 into VR square, then only the relay will operate. So here IR and VR are the magnitudes, right? Or in other words, I can write if VR square divided by IR square, VR square divided by IR square, okay, if this value is less than K1 by K2, then the relay should trip, right? So I can take the under root on both the sides. So VR by IR is nothing but ZR, right? And if I take the under root of this VR square by IR square, then I can write ZR, because VR square upon IR square, root will be VR upon IR, which is ZR. This should be less than root of K1 by K2. this K1 and K2 are constants, right? These values can be set properly. That means ZR should be less than Z set. Z set is the value which can be derived like this, right? So this is the meaning of the impedance relay. So you have to carefully set the value of Z set so that your relay will properly operate, right? So this is the basic of the impedance relay. So friends, this is the basic impedance relay that we have seen. Similarly, there are different relays, like there is a reactance relay which only looks at the reactance, and then there is a Moho relay, MHO, Moho relay. We'll be seeing these relays in the further videos. As of now, you can read up to this point and try to understand this in a better way. And please remember, this may not be, these many details may not be asked you in your university exams, but from the gate examination and for anyway from general switchgear and protection point of view, distance protection is one of the most important topics. So please go through these videos very carefully and sincerely. Thank you.